Hi, I'm Kelly Bohm. Today on the Driven podcast, I'm having a conversation with Blake Fitzpatrick of Sunshine Movers in Sarasota, Florida. This guy is incredible. His story is pretty inspiring. He started in the drywall industry and kind of was helping a friend in the moving industry for 30 days and then decided to start a moving company. So he tells his story today. We dig into his involvement in the Sarasota community and how he gives back as a business owner and as a company, and also talks about how he's building a great culture with his employees and his staff. So I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Blake Fitzpatrick. Blake, I'm so excited to chat with you today. The more I've been involved in marketing with clients who are in the moving industry, the more I hear your name. Everyone's a big fan of you, and a lot of people want to know what your secrets are, what you're doing differently, because you definitely shine. Your name gets mentioned. You're kind of you're known in the industry. So I know you're in Sarasota,
Mhm.
but I would love to hear how you got started.
Um, Short story how I got started. I used to do drywall, I used to do construction, and I was working with a good friend of mine. And I was working with him for about 3 months. And then one day he gets a phone call from a guy and says, he gets off the phone after this, 10-minute call. And he says, "Hey, Blake, we're going to go help a buddy of mine move some furniture." I was like, "Are you serious right now?" He's like, "Yeah, let's put our tools up." So come to find out, the guy that I worked with, he has a buddy that had a single moving truck, small company, and his
Mhm.
guys didn't show up. Well, we go out, we help, and at the end of the day, this guy says, "Hey, the guys that I needed today, I also needed them on this day and that day." And I liked what I just did, so I was like, "Hey, sign me up. I'll be there on this day and that day." Well, that was
Okay.
the beginning, and then over the next 30 days, I went back and forth between working with my buddy doing the drywall, construction, odds and
Mhm.
ends, to working with this moving company, this one truck small moving company. And prior to this, I was already trying to figure out how I was going to start my own drywall company.
Okay.
So I was looking at different ways of marketing and all this other stuff. And so when I got introduced to moving, I said, "Man, I really like this. New customer every day. I
Right.
get to interact with clients versus interacting with empty houses."
Mm-hmm.
So I was very attracted to it. And with that, within those 30 days that I went back and forth between them, I decided to go towards the moving and I bought a truck. I bought my first
Okay.
truck after 30 days of moving. So yeah, I enjoy telling people that today. I started my company after 30 days
Oh my
of
gosh.
moving.
How old were you?
26.
Okay. And did you pay cash for it? Did you have the reserves or were you just kind of like scraping money together? Did you get a loan? What did you do to make that happen?
No, I had a little bit of cash. I bought
Okay.
the truck cheap. I bought it for $3,000. I bought it about an hour and 20 minutes away in Tampa, North Tampa.
Okay.
And it's funny because it blew the rear main seal coming over the Skyway Bridge,
Perfect.
which is a very serious incident. So, but it got repaired, and I remember they told us, "We don't know if this is going to last you 3 months or 3 years, so baby it." And I
Mhm.
babied it, and it lasted for like 5 years, that truck. But that was my entry point. I remember when I bought that truck, I didn't even know how to drive these 26-foot trucks. I mean, I know how to drive them. You hit the gas, you turn the wheels,
Right.
but I wasn't experienced driving these things. And the guy Mark, who I originally worked with, he went with me to go buy this truck, and I had him help me drive it back. And I remember I lived in an area that had like a large lot next to it, and I remember practice driving it and trying to make the turns and stuff like that.
My
But
gosh. So what happened the next 6 months after that?
I started getting comfortable talking to customers. I used to be,
Okay.
people might not realize it, but I used to be shy, a little bit introverted. And when customers would call in or I'd speak to customers, I used to get nervous. That's not the case anymore. But I just found ways to put ads out there. I use
Okay.
Craigslist. Marketing at that point was like not existent. I was just doing whatever I could and
Yeah.
getting
Hustling.
jobs and walking up to people. If I saw a stager or anybody, I'd walk up and give them my card and just try to get business. I actually still have my first year ledger, my first year schedule, and you can see I had a job here, a job there, and I still worked with Mark. We'd go back and forth for a little while, and
Okay.
he'd come work with me if I had a client. I'd go work with him if he had a client. So we kept each other busy that first 6 months, and
Okay.
we just kept pushing and kept getting hungrier. And so one of the things is I had a passion. I have a passion for how we look online. How does my website look? And I learned
Mhm.
how to create
Mhm.
my own website on GoDaddy and
Okay.
put together, different things that I felt were appealing to a client. Like with Sunshine Movers, you have the owner from the first call to the last box placed. That's not the
Mhm.
case anymore, but at the time I saw that was a big value add. So I dove in on that stuff. It's one thing that I'm good at is finding ways to add value in front of my clients. And that goes
Mhm.
from when I was a small company that did everything to
Right.
now the great people that we have, and capturing that value and making sure that the customer sees it from the time they open our Google page to they're getting to the website to how the communication goes back and forth. It's all about that value, because you're selling, you're always selling. And I don't like to call it selling necessarily, but that's what it is. And when you
Mhm.
paint that picture of the value that you have in your company, then you're going to get the sale. And I did that from day one, how I
Okay.
spoke with customers. Funny story. When I first was doing this, I'd be in the truck with the guys, or I'd even be, around my guys on a job site, and I would take calls from clients. And it's funny, I would go into a completely different voice. I would go into a completely different character. I'd get off the phone, and my guys are looking at me like, who was that? That wasn't Blake. But no, I would, everything would change, and I would give the customers what I felt was best. They need compassion, they need comfort. So when I got on the phone with them, it was, what can I do for you? How can I do it? And then trying to answer any questions I could.
So you weren't as comforting to your employees or what? How
Oh,
was
I
it?
was, but yeah, no, it's just that voice, that sweet little voice I put on.
It's smart. You need to meet people where they're at, and your tone matters, and listening to them matters.
It
It makes
does
a
very
huge
much so.
difference. Especially when it's people's things. This is the most important thing to people. Their stuff. And it's a really big purchase typically that they're making. They're buying a new home, or they're in a transition in their life, or they're
I
selling
think this
something they
is,
care about.
and to speak to that, this is one of the things early on that made a difference. And I tell people that I had 30 days of moving experience when I started my own company. So
Hmm.
your typical way of doing things as a moving company, it's not as compassionate to the customer. It's not as understanding that they're going through a massive change in their life. So I didn't have all this background information in the way things were done with a moving company. All I
Right.
did was figure it out myself on what I
Hmm.
felt the customer needed or what I wanted to give to the customer. So
Right.
I realized early on, like, they're going through a situation right now, and I need to be compassionate and offering of
Mhm.
support and things like that. I wasn't the typical, okay, what do you got? Here's your price. See you next time. It wasn't that. It was,
Right.
what can I do for you? I understand you're going through this situation.
Mhm.
So one of the benefits of starting a company with no prior experience was I did it my way, not the typical moving industry way. And that's the way it's
Right.
continued on and on and on, because we still do things. Now that I am very familiar with the way things are done, I still do it my way in certain aspects to make sure that the customer gets a better experience.
Yeah. So the customer experience is important, and you feel like building relationships and building trust is really important.
100%. And I just did a class on this with people. I was invited out, which I was honored to be invited out. They wanted somebody that was good at giving referrals and gaining referral partners. And
That's
so one of
you.
the things, yeah, one of the things that I learned early on was, who do I take care of above and beyond? And one of the interesting things that I brought up in this class was, when you have a client that you're talking to on the phone and they're high energy, very bubbly, very fun,
Hmm.
more chances are that they have lots of good friends, because energy attracts people. So when I'm
Right.
on the phone with somebody and they're super nice, very bubbly, there's a good chance that they have a lot of friends. And I know if I take care of them, their customer experience with me will probably be getting shared with all these friends that it sounds like they're
Mhm.
probably having. I
Mhm.
would also look for other things. So if there's an email, they give us their email, when we send them a quote. If that email is at blankrealty.com, that's a realtor. Now I know, hey, you're a realtor. And then give them a little extra, do a little something special for them. Maybe say, oh, you're a realtor. Hey, listen, I would love to take care of your clients. And since this move is for you, I'm going to go ahead and give you some free wardrobe boxes, or I'm going to discount your rate from X, to this. I would be really, mindful of when I'm talking to
Mhm.
clients of which ones could potentially be referral partners or
Mhm.
advocates for my company. And I would go above and beyond to take care of them. And
Mhm.
that made a huge difference for our company. Still to this day, we have people that we took exceptional care of that
Mhm.
are raving fans.
Our team is reading The Go Giver right now, and you explained so well right now an example of being a go-giver. A lot of times when people are young and starting their business, they're scrappy and they're go-getters, but that's not necessarily the best way to grow a business. If you can be a go-giver and be a connector and build those relationships, it goes so much further than just being scrappy and being a go-getter. You
Yeah,
have to,
100%.
yeah, I
And
love it.
we also did things out of the ordinary. We still do this today. We built it into like a process, a program, that if we have a referral partner on the line or a referral from a referral partner on the line, like for example, and this is one of my pitches that I give when I go out and I speak to realty groups and such. When a client says, "Hey, we want to start between 8 and 8:30," that's our start time. But if a client says, "Oh, can we start at 10 o'clock? I want to be able to walk my dogs or something in the
Right.
morning, go have coffee." Well, we're going to push. Say, no, our guys need to start at a decent time and get out there while the air is still cool and have more daylight in the day. But if it's a realtor referral and it's a legitimate reason, we're going to bend those rules for them, and we're always going
Okay.
to make sure that they know that they got those bent rules because they were referred by the realtor or whoever else. We want to give value to the referral partner while at it. But
Mhm.
the point is that we stretch the rules for our referral partners and their referrals, because we want to give them a little extra. If they need there's so many different things that people need during moving. We'll accommodate
Oh
them. You
yeah.
can't accommodate all of them. You can't. You'll drive yourself nuts. And it can be
Right.
kind of tough just to even accommodate a few of them here and there. But it's worth it in the long run to keep that referral partner. When you look at your
Mhm.
cost of marketing to get a client, cost of acquisition of a client, I think it's CAC.
Mhm.
If you can have 50 referral partners that are referring you work and you're not having to pay anything, isn't it worth it to do a couple of little odds and ends that you wouldn't normally do? I think it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally. It really is. So do you focus more on relationships with referral partners or with past clients, or is it pretty equal? Talk to me about
Well,
that.
one of the things in my class that I talked about was you need to shift your mindset of marketing. A lot of people think marketing to future clients, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to shift your mindset to marketing to referral partners. And this
Mhm.
goes from what does your marketing campaign look like, your material look like, what does your website look like? You need to consider realtors looking at it or anybody that could refer you work. Where are you providing the value? Is it specifically to the client or is it to referral partners or both? The point is that you need to consider referral partners in your marketing, in your campaigns, what you say, how you say it, what you do. Think about what a referral partner would want out of you to refer you. And that's what you need to focus on with your material and how you market yourself. And that's one thing that we do really well with. I
Mhm.
love I'll market to clients, but the majority of my marketing from day one has always been to referral partners.
Mhm.
Everything, all of my campaigns, my paid campaigns. People still they laugh and their minds are blown. We don't pay for Google ads. We don't pay
Mhm.
for leads. Everything that we do is SEO and referral partners. And that comes from when I started out. I was just going after referral partners, one
Mhm.
after another, after another, after another. You don't see me out, you know, putting signs on the side of the road and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm. Who does your SEO? Is it Sasha?
No, I don't know.
No. Okay.
No,
Oh,
I have a few different people that I've used,
okay.
but and
Okay.
this is kind of irrelevant. But what we have, we have a web designer. That web
Okay.
designer he can do his own SEO. He can do a little bit of everything. Would I call him an absolute SEO expert? No, but that's
Okay.
why we have brought people to the table, and he has gone and found people to the table for different projects that we have found that we want to do because a lot of people don't realize this, but
Yeah.
SEO comes in so many different forms.
Right.
And so we would look at something and say this needs to be better, and who can
Mhm.
we bring in to provide that?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what I like about that when you're dealing with an SEO company,
Yeah.
so people don't know how to measure things or say, okay, are they doing a good
Right.
job? Am I getting a good price? So my web designer is the forefront of it all
Yeah.
that can be able to help me say, okay, this is working. I did a report, they're doing a good job, or this is not working. So I
Mhm.
trust him
Yeah.
to help me measure those things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's funny because when you were talking at an event, there was a girl there who does SEO who came to me because of you. Did you know that? That's Sasha. So I'm helping her with her database marketing and she's
that was the
helping me.
class. Yeah.
Yes, and she's helping me with SEO. So I'll let you know how that all goes out. We're kind of bartering and we might be partnering so that we can offer that to our clients too. Um, but I think it's just so funny that you were talking about me for a brief moment and she reached out.
Yeah, during that class, I talked about driven, and because the constant communication or being able to follow up after you have an event is huge.
Right. Right.
And I should touch on that as well. But I brought it up about how we keep up with that constant communication and how we
Yeah.
use driven. And a lot of people, when I said that, they were already getting lit up on a lot of things I said. But when I said
Yeah.
that, oh, let me grab a pen and paper. Let me write that
Right.
down. And then they all wanted the information, and I made sure to email it over to them afterwards.
Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, 100%.
Well, I think that there is the fortune is in the follow-up, and you do a great job with community events, which is incredible. And then I think what happens is you meet people at those events or people at those events, and then we do some follow-up to that. But talk to me about the events that you do. Do you have a strategy behind which events you do, what you get involved in? Is the calendar mapped out for the year, or how do you approach community connection?
Yeah, so we're part of multiple organizations that hold regular events, and we hold high sponsorships in these organizations.
Okay.
So we're already set up for all of their events. We have options to sponsor further, but we want to be at every event. And the organizations that we're part of is again designed for referral partners.
Yeah.
There are a few occasions where we deal with the public. It's funny, we actually have an understanding of what type of event is this. Is this to business? Is this directly to referral partners? Because those are two different things.
Yeah.
And is this to the public? And if
Okay.
it's to the public, we are not putting high dollar stuff on the table.
Mm-mm.
And we're just more or less doing brand awareness at that point.
Right.
When it's business to business, we're looking for accounts. We're looking
Okay.
for people who need us regularly, whether it be restoration companies, contractors, flooring companies, maybe even. So that's a little different of a dynamic. But when it's to referral partners like realtors, property managers, depending on what event we're at, that's a different approach. And what we do, we pick up business cards all the way through no matter what. But when we're dealing with referral partners, like a realty event, what we do is we want to get their information, and that way we can follow up with them. And so what we'll do is we'll put together like a gift, bottle of wine, tickets to something, whatever, and then we'll take a drawing for that. Also, we do high-end purses. Well, like $200 purses that look really
Okay.
nice, but
Okay.
that's a good one too. But
People
then
like
we
that?
select your card. Oh yeah, yeah, a
Okay.
purse, absolutely. And guys will like it too because they'll take it back to their wife.
What brand? Is it like just a good leather bag, or does your wife pick something out, or someone at the office who decide? I know you're
Yeah,
not deciding the purse.
they'll go get it. We have a place over here, Ellington Outlet Mall. Gosh,
Okay.
I hope nobody in this area hears this. But
Ah,
there's a place, Ellington Outlet Mall, and they've
oh,
got. I think we got a. What was it? I think it was like might have been. I don't know if it was Gucci. It was some name brand. We wanted to make sure it was a name brand,
okay.
and it was like originally like a $500 purse.
Okay.
We got it for like $200.
Okay.
But this was also at a very big event, a broker open, high-end realtors were there, things like that. So you want to kind of
Okay.
gauge how big of a thing
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah.
But with that, then you get them to drop their cards in, and then you do a drawing. Well, you take those cards at the end of the event or the next day, and then you enter them into Driven, and then we have like a custom message that goes out and it says,
Okay.
"Hey, it was so nice to meet you at the event last night. Although you didn't win the purse, we did want to reach out and say hello and see if there's anything I could do for you in the future. Hope you have a great day." It's not sales pitchy. It's,
Mm-mm.
what can we do for you? This is
Right.
who we are. It was nice meeting you. And then it rolls into our every 45 days, every 60 days of messages that we just touch point
Yes.
later on. But it's extremely important. People don't realize this. I talk to businesses about this all the time. They go out to events and they're shaking hands and they're giving out their cards or whatever tchotchkes they got. And then at the end of the event, that's it. They're done.
Right.
That's that 80% of the gold in these events is following up with them and putting them in your circle. If you
Yep.
meet them once, they may remember who you are, know who you are, but when you follow up with them regularly after that, now you're putting them in your circle.
Hmm.
And it's so important to have that. And if you're not doing that, you're literally doing a fraction of what you
Hmm.
could be doing. I said somebody being at the event is 20%. Following up is the other 80%.
Hmm. So true. I just got an email last evening from a woman that I spoke to, a real estate agent. We probably talked 2 years ago, and I've been dripping on her. And she emailed me back finally and was like, "Hey, I think I'm ready. I think it's time." And
Yeah,
I didn't have to spend really any energy on it. I just dropped her into my database and I did the warm, friendly touches that are genuinely me and are my voice.
yeah,
So do
yeah.
you
And
respond to all the messages that come in and out and do all that relationship building, or do you have someone on your team that helps you with that?
So we have three people that monitor it.
Okay.
I'm one of those three, and I'm the least of the monitor.
Okay.
I kind of pay attention to what's coming in every now and again. I read them. I love reading the good feedback. Every once in a
Yeah.
while, we'll have a customer that probably shouldn't have been on there that I'll see something, but it's very, very rare.
Okay.
99% of our customers are all happy. And the other 1%, it's usually something that's out of our control. But no, I have two others aside from me that monitor it. I have one
Okay.
outside person and then one person that's a salesperson in the office. So that way,
Okay.
any leads that do come in, we're able to grab them quickly. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we have, we need more than one because there's a lot of different feedback that comes in and be able to respond quickly to them.
Right. Right. So what's the size of your referral partners right now, that database? Do you have any idea what the number is?
It's up there.
Like
We have some
1,000?
that might be stagnant. Yeah, about 1,000. So
Okay.
we have realtors, business owners, all types of different things. But yeah,
Are you hoping to grow? Like, what's the goal? Because we believe the value of your business is equal to the number of people in your database times the quality of those relationships. And I think that's what you're really good at is, doing the follow-up and building this quality relationship. Is there like a number that you're reaching toward for
no,
people?
just keep going higher and higher and
There?
higher.
Okay. Yeah.
But we've been focusing more now on not just, realtors, we'll take them, but now we're focusing on the top. We're going after the presidents of associations. We're going after involvement in the community to a point now where we're getting the attention from high-ranking people in the community because
So
when
nice.
they say great things about us, everybody trusts them.
Yep.
And that's been a big one for us is now being supported by people in the community that wouldn't support people unless they were quality because now they're almost responsible in a sense. But so
Oh,
we've been
yeah.
changing the direction. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So I know that you made kind of a big decision today. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully I don't jinx myself, but we just signed a letter of intent to move into a lease to own option on a 28,500 square foot warehouse built by a moving company. So it is a traditional moving warehouse, massive
Okay.
parking lot, many docks. It's designed specifically for moving companies. So it's a pretty big bump up because we're talking about 850% increase compared to what we pay right now for the warehouse that we're in. Very
Oh, wow.
scary.
What does that mean for employees and staffing? And do you need to bring on more people? What's your capacity like right now? Do you?
No, we that's the one thing that we have that's really working well is that we have solid employees from our
Okay.
movers to our office. I mean, these people in the office, they joke about it, but seriously, they're going to retire from here. They don't want to go anywhere else. We're a family.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and we've always set ourselves up for quality for the customer, which means that we're a little bit more on the staff side than a typical moving
Okay.
company of our side. We have two operations managers, we have six salespeople, and then there's plus myself, and we have other people doing other things. So we have the staff that we need. Right now, it's just about getting the storage in as fast as possible. So we're actually, I was up till 3 o'clock last night because they say, the best place for an entrepreneur is to be uncomfortable. Well, getting ready to sign this
There.
LOI is very uncomfortable. So I was up till 3 a.m. last night writing up compensation plans based on revenue of storage, revenue of moving revenue. And so this way,
Exciting.
everybody's incentivized that
Okay.
once we get over that threshold to cover our costs in storage, then they can begin starting getting bonuses. So now everybody's incentivized from the crew members to the drivers to the salespeople to the operations managers to get that storage filled up as fast as possible.
So they are out there selling for you when they're out doing jobs or in their circles.
Well, the movers are selling for us because they do a good job. When they do a good job, that client will tell the rest of their folks. They're not out there necessarily, developing
Talking about
new
it.
business,
Okay.
but they're doing a good job in terms of making sure that that customer is going to use us again and refer us to their friends and family. The people in
Hmm.
the office, yeah, they're all salespeople. My outside
Okay.
sales, we're equipping them to be able to go out and find us more storage accounts and things like that. But
Okay.
um, the big one is incentivizing everybody so they all, if a client comes in that's potential storage, well, let's fight a little bit more to get that client because we want
Hmm.
that storage.
Hmm. So that's one way that I think you treat your employees different is incentivizing them. They'll make more money if they can meet these goals. What other things do you do for your employees, or how do you find
Yeah,
employees?
money is a very small part of it. We make
Yeah.
sure they're taken care of, but culture is everything. And I actually
Mhm.
learned this, and this is going to sound funny, but I actually learned about empathy for the
Mhm.
first time in the last year. I've heard the term, I've heard it used, but I never really took a second to think about it. And I've realized now that that's one of the things that I have. It's a good thing and a bad thing. I'm very empathetic, and I've been that way forever.
Mhm.
If there's an issue in my company, I solve it. I have to solve it. If I don't solve it, I can't sleep. So that could be from tension with the crews to discrepancies with the salespeople to a process that's broken and is causing havoc for people in the company. So that's a big one for me. That's a huge catalyst for our success is making sure everybody's happy and they realize from me coming down, this is the way we run the company, and everybody needs to have that same thought process moving forward. The other thing is I've always gotten involved with community give back. From the
Yeah.
time we had our first hurricane hit, I stocked the truck up and we drove around and helped people out. And I got my guys involved. Yeah, they got paid for this time, but I
Right.
didn't, I wasn't charging people, but I felt it was
Right.
necessary. And people saw that community involvement and they appreciated it. And I picked up on that. I picked up on the response I got. And so I continue to do it. And also, it's not the response from the public, but it was also the response from our crew members and the people that worked with us. Because, and this is one of my favorite things to say, when you hold the door open for somebody, you feel good about it. And that's a
Mhm.
very small way to do something nice for somebody.
Mhm.
So yeah, everybody has the ability to hold the door open or maybe let
Mhm.
somebody go in front of them at the grocery store. But to give back in a major way, like helping a nonprofit that is low budget move and give them a very low to free cost. When we're doing those moves, yes, the guys are getting paid, but that nonprofit, the people who represent it, they're getting a great deal and they're super appreciative. And then our
Mhm.
guys go out there and they're feeling that appreciation coming from the clients that we're moving. They
Mhm.
come back lit up. They're like they now did something good for somebody because
Yeah.
they were getting appreciated out there.
Mhm.
And that's one way. And another thing is like we're huge with breast cancer awareness. We partner with the American Cancer Society. Most of my office is made up of women. And so they appreciate that and they get to be a part of it. When we do the walkathon in October, we've got our truck out there. Everybody loves us. Everybody loves them. We all have
Mhm.
our breast cancer shirts on. They're now a part of giving back. And
Mhm.
so now it does something for them. Remember, I said it, not everybody has a way to give back in a major way. So by me giving that to them or allowing them to have that opportunity, it puts that light inside of them that we get when we hold the door open for somebody.
Mhm.
So now it builds up the culture. They're not just a part of a moving company, they're a part of something that's helping the community. So them themselves are helping the community, and that goes full circle for culture. And it also does really well with your marketing and clients. We get people calling in all the time and saying, we chose you guys because you guys did this event, or we saw that you donate a portion of every move to the Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation, all this other stuff. And they feel that, they appreciate that. They get off
Mhm.
the phone and they're like, yeah, we got that move because we're a good company. And that's the culture that keeps everybody happy and keeps everybody smiling and wanting to come to work. So that's a big part of our company. And I realized this
Love it.
years ago, but this last few years, we've really found a way to bring that home, getting very involved and making it part of our culture, our commitments, to our marketing materials. I mean, I'm looking at something right here. I've got my flyers for the breast
Mhm.
cancer awareness event that
Oh, I love it.
and it's all pink for
All pink.
yeah, yep, yep. So everything goes full circle on this. So it's a big win.
Blake, I love what you're building. It's amazing. It's incredible. I want to send all three of my children to come work for you in the summertime. If you're open to that and you need an au pair too, my kids can come. They can watch your kids. They can work for you. I love it. The culture you're building. I love that you're stepping out and taking risks. It's incredible. We need to wrap up, but I want to end with asking you. Well, I say to my kids all the time, your friends determine the quality and direction of your life. Who you surround yourself with really matters. Different people come in and out of our lives at different times and make impacts, and you can make that impact on and you are making that impact on people. But is there someone in your life who has been instrumental in getting you to where you are today, or who has made an impact in your life?
Yeah, I joined BNI like my third, fourth year in business, and I didn't have those kind of people around me.
Mhm.
So when I joined BNI, I loved it. I attached myself to it very quickly.
Mhm.
because I had a new circle of people that gave me praise, and that's the way BNI works, or it's any circle of professionals that you find. For me, it was BNI. But I found support in a different way. I found, cheering on in a different way. And then I became friends with these people. And now some of my best, closest friends are people that are in business and or owners and different things. And so now I have a group of support, a group of individuals that, if I have a question, they're there. If I have a problem, they can help me solve it. So, it's find them along the way. Finding people along the way is important, but you also got to remember you got to put yourself in positions to find the right people. And for me, it was
Yeah.
BNI. For somebody else, it could be, the church, or
Right.
there's all different ways of finding them. But for me, it was BNI, and now that is my circle. I was just hanging out with some people that I met for my very first year in BNI last night. I got into the American Cancer Society, and now what am I doing? I'm bringing all them over. I'm bringing all them
Yeah.
into it. Yeah, we actually have 39 ambassadors for our campaign, for the Men Wear Pink campaign, and 13 of them are new this year, and they're ones that I brought in. And so I'm helping them grow their business with this nonprofit. I'm helping the nonprofit grow theirs with these people coming in. It goes full circle. So it's a win-win.
You are truly a go-giver. Thank you, Blake, so much. It was awesome talking to you today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for joining us today on the Driven podcast, where we are all about growing relationships in life and business. We hope today's story reminded you that behind every brand, every business, and every big idea, there is a real person choosing to show up, stay rooted, and lead with intention. Your story matters. So keep building, keep loving, and keep doing the hard, beautiful work of showing up in both life and business. We'll catch you next time with another real, inspiring conversation. And until then, never let love and kindness leave you. Always be a fountain, not a drain. And don't ever forget that you are the best.